Hello everyone, this is Satyaprakash. Welcome to Coding Knowledge. In this video, I'll describe how to update Git credentials on Windows and how to authorize Git Credential Manager. So before going through this video, please visit my part 10 of GitHub tutorial. I already have added this link in my description section. So in this video, I'll describe few points, that is what is Git Credential Manager or GCM, and how to update Git credentials on Windows operating system, and what are the uses of Git Credential Manager for GitHub repository. So now I'll tell you what is Git Credential Manager. So the Git Credential Manager for Windows, or it will short in, you can tell it as GCM, that provides secure Git credential storage for Windows. So Git Credential Manager or GCM provides multiple factor authentication, supports for Azure DevOps, Team Foundation Server or TFS, and GitHub and Bitbucket. So let's go to my directory of Satya2, and there I already have used this dev2 workspace here, and here I'll tell you about how to perform this Git Credential Manager or GCM using git bash command. So I'll open here the git. I think you already have opened my git bash command here, so no need to open again. So I'll open here, and you can see the directory. You can find the git1, my git repo yt, dev2 workspace, and Satya2 repository, and the main branch. Okay, now I'll edit my file.cs here. Now I will just mother name in eng and save this file and go to the git bash. Here I'll check the status. So you can see this changes to stage for commit. That means the changes has not been committed to my staging area or local git. So for staging area, I need to add this file first with what are the changes. Git add my file.cs. So click enter. So my file is already added to my staging area with some modifications. I want to clear the screen, and here I'll commit. So git commit -m and added some changes. In mother name property. Okay, now click enter. Okay, now that means I need to configure my author identity here. So I'll git config and user.email. I'll mention my GitHub mail ID. So it should be correct as per your creation of GitHub account. You should mention the proper mail ID here. So this one, the satya2home@gmail.com. So my mail ID already added, and I'll config for user.name. So as I already described, I use the username that Mohan CS GitHub for this authentication. So click enter here. So my mail ID and username has been added for the successful authentication in GitHub account to connect to the GitHub repository. Okay, now I will commit. Git commit -m and some changes. I'll add this message here, some changes in mother name property. Now click enter. Now my file is already been committed to the local Git repository. So one file change, that means my file.cs, and one insertion means I have updated this mother name with mother name at eng, so that's why it is nothing but this one. So it is nothing but the changes, that is one insertion. And one deletion, that means earlier there is a one, mother name one is there, I remove this one, I replace with ing. That's why in git bash it is showing that one insertion and one deletion. I already have described that is what is insertions and what is deletion, and the symbol for insertion is plus and deletion is minus. In my earlier last video I already have described this one, please go through that. I clear the screen here and I want to push these changes. Git push origin main. Now before push the changes, I will show you some tips that is how to set Git credentials on Windows. So for this I will search for here credential manager on my Windows operating system. I go to Windows credentials, and here you can see that it is in my last video I already have configured this username and password. So I want to update this one. I will mention here the wrong username and click save, and again I will go here and edit and some changes password. Here I will give you the wrong password and click save. Okay, now we can just for confirmation that the wrong username and wrong password is updated successfully in generic credential section of Windows credentials. Now I will go here and click enter. So it will check whether the credentials already configured in our Git on Windows, it will be correct or not. No. See here, you can see that invalid username and password, and the error you got that authentication failed for this clone repo clone URL. That means our Git credential manager or Git credential for Windows, whatever username or password is mentioned, that is incorrect. So how to fix it? Go here, we just remove this one and click yes. Now you can see successfully it is removed, that is Git credential account is removed here, that's why it is not showing. Now minimize this one. I will again click enter and git push origin main, type this command, execute this command by putting enter. Now it will try to connect to my GitHub repository. Make sure the internet connection is on. So here I will sign in with your browser. You can see one interface is coming here. So I click here. Now it will open in your browser. So it will take some time to open in your browser. It will process. Now it is open. So it is asking about your current username and password under which you want to push these changes to the GitHub repository. So I mention here during commit whatever the username Mohan CS GitHub and the correct password, and this one is used for Git credential manager for authorize and sign in. Okay, now it is asking about that some 6-digit code here. I think some internet connection issue is there, so I just disconnect and I connect again. So after successful connect, I just refresh this link. Okay, now I'll check here my git bash. Okay, now I'll check my internet connection is okay or not. For that I need to search something here. No, my internet is not working. Yeah, it is working properly. So here I just click enter. Okay, I'll check here again. Just refresh this one to Windows credentials. Now it is updated successfully, but we cannot see this message that is Git Credential Manager there. So I need to remove again and click yes. Okay, now I'll go again to my dev2 workspace, and here I'll go to the git bash and I'll change something here. To go to edit, and here I'll add mother name by user. I click save and close this one and go to git bash here, go to status. Now check, I want to add this to my staging area, my file.cs, click enter. Now check the git status command, it is added successfully. Now I'll commit, and here added some comments. Click enter. Now this changes has been committed successfully. Now I want to push, that is main. So I already have execute this command here and click enter. Now it is asking about sign in with your browser. I click here. Okay, now it will open in your browser. I think some issues there in browser, that's why I need to reset the history. And just clear the browsing data here. Okay, now I'll clear this. So here I'll set my date and time properly. Maybe server cannot find the proper date and time, that's why it is showing that message. or not connected, that kind of message it's showing. So I'll go here, I'll make the changes. Okay, now we'll check under credential. I just refresh this one, go to Windows credentials. So here I want to remove. It is successfully added for Git Credentials, but I want to show you this interface, that is Git Credential Manager it's asking. Otherwise everything is fine. So I just click here for edit, and here user Mohan, I save this one, go to git bash here, clear the screen, I git add my file.cs, git status, and I want to commit -m, added comment by Mohan, and click enter. Then I will push these changes to main branch. Now click enter. Now it is one pop-up is coming to sign in with your browser. Click this one, and it will open in your browser, and it will ask something. See here, it is successfully, it will show. Now credential manager, I put my username and password and sign in. So here it will now authentication is succeeded. That means my Git Credential Manager authentication using my username Mohan CS GitHub is successfully authenticated. So how to check this? This authentication should be matched with our Git credential on Windows. So go to here Windows credentials, and you can see here this generic credential section. The link is added github.com, and the network address, username, password, and persistence is local computer. So my Git credential is already updated in my Windows operating system, and I have authorized this Git Credential Manager by putting username and password, what it is showing in my Windows credentials or Git credentials on Windows. So after then I'll check here that this git push command is automatically executed, and it will be pushed to my main branch successfully. Now I'll go to this repository. I just refresh this. Now you can see recently Mohan says GitHub added one comment during commit, that is added comment by Mohan 2 minutes ago, and 6 commits. Recently it is showing that added comment by Mohan. If you'll go to this file, you can see the recent changes made by Mohan says GitHub, that is by user Mohan, and this mother name ENG property name has been modified. If you'll go again this repository, and if you'll click here this link of comment message, and you can see there is one deletion, that I have removed this comment to update this comment, that is this is nothing but the one space is there. I have removed, and I have added the same comment but with new line, and modified this comment by user Mohan, and mother name in ENG property name has been modified. So in this way we can check here the deletion and insertion recently in GitHub repository, and this is nothing but the commit ID, and the same commit ID should be generated in my local Git repository. I already have described in my last video. So how to generate this commit ID and how to check this in local Git repository as well as remote GitHub repository. Now I'll go to the presentation here. So what the uses of Git Credential Manager? The Git Credential Manager, it used to connect to GitHub repo. That's why when we'll executing this push command or pull command from GitHub to local Git or push command from local Git to GitHub repository, the internet connection should be on and there is required of Git Credential Manager authentication, and it should be authenticated by using your Git credential setup on Windows. So for executing pull and push command, we need to authorize Git Credential Manager, what I shown you earlier, and that is I'll show you on the browser here. See, after authentication it will show the message authentication is succeeded. That means the Git Credential Manager is authorized successfully. Okay, now so this is my YouTube channel Coding Knowledge. Subscribe and share it to get the up-to-date knowledge on .NET, .NET Core, Angular, SQL Server, C#, Bootstrap, GitHub, Jenkins and Azure. And what we learned today in this video and the summary, that what is Git Credential Manager, how to update Git Credential on Windows, and how to remove this existing Git credential on Windows and update with the new credentials, and what are the uses of Git Credential Manager for GitHub repo, because to push and pull the changes in between local Git repository and remote GitHub repository. That's why you need Git Credential Manager should be authenticated and it should be authorized successfully for creating the successful connection between local Git repository and remote GitHub repository for push and pull the changes. So that's all about guys for today. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.